with integration into the game. So like you can get in yourself in the zone, and like you know how there's competitive Overwatch and like WoW and like stuff like that. So I'm trying to bring that more into my life, into my friends circles to get the idea out there. Also yanggang kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's great, Refluence. I love that. And I adhere to the same. Gaming is this incredibly powerful force in the world. It's a unifying force because it breaks all barriers globally. And I think that the generation of gamers are the ones that are going to save humanity because one, like, we tend to skew pretty young. Average age is about 30 years old, and vast majority of teenagers are gamers, like around 70-80%. And there are 2.7 billion gamers on the planet. And to me, the real question is, like, how do you harness that? How do you leverage that level of engagement and activity and creative problem solving and apply that to real world problems? So the scary part to me is, as trends accelerate, on average, individuals are spending about 2 hours a day gaming per week. That is a tremendous amount of time spent in games. And because of lockdowns and, virtual learning and virtual offices, we're kind of like disappearing into the digital world. And in particular with gaming, it's this powerful escape from reality. So as reality gets uglier and messier, people are escaping more into the virtual worlds, which is great for your alleviating stress and anxiety, but it's also detaching you from reality. And so you end up developing less empathy for the problems that are in front of you and globally. So I do think there's this imperative for us to bridge that gap. Reference, you got something to say?
Yes, I wanted to reference the movie Ready Player One and the book Ready Player One, and the book number two, Ready Player Two, is out. So I'm reading those. It's like based on reality, but it's like where the virtual world gets really real. So it's like, yeah.
Absolutely, man. And it's kind of this exciting time because that concept is actually being built now. It's essentially a concept called the metaverse. And the latest revolution in software is among many things, AI, machine learning, but also blockchain. So this like blockchain ecosystem where all these applications can now integrate together, it's starting to create this like unified virtual metaverse universe. It's pretty crazy. So we are marching towards Ready Player One. Like, it's happening already. It's
Big
really
brain.
fascinating. Yeah, it's kind of frightening, to be honest. So I do think there's this responsibility on our side to navigate that kind of future correctly. And that's a hard problem to solve. We need some very deep thinking and a lot of philosophy and sociology and psychology going into that, not just
I'm good
pure
at
tech
that.
and engineering. Yeah. And actually, I really love like your focus on mental health and mindfulness. I think that is
Mindfulness.
key for all of us, and particularly for gamers.
Yes, sir. Gaming gamers. Let's go.
Hey, Jeremy. So you and I met about a year ago doing Yang Gang stuff. And I know you and I talked a little bit about your project. And when you talked about it with me, there was like a UBI element to it. And I guess it might be nice to share, like, what's your story with how you got into universal basic income and how that plays into what you're doing now?
Yeah, man, it does go back a while. I think a lot of my understanding of the theory of UBI and its benefits really came through the Andrew Yang campaign, where I was following it pretty closely and listening to a lot of what he was saying, and then just digging into the research that he cited. And it was pretty clear. It's like, wow, there are so many benefits to introducing this in terms of like increasing overall health outcomes, mental health outcomes, opening up equal opportunity to, everything like education, healthcare, jobs, mobility, and what it would do for the economy to stimulate activity and generate business and jobs. So it was just incredible what I discovered, and the list goes on and on of all the benefits. So then I started to think about, oh, okay, got it. This is one of the most powerful and most effective and efficient ways to eradicate poverty. Like, let's push this thing forward. So, again, it's like this core theme behind me is, I really want to focus on solving poverty. And part of that is because, my parents are immigrants in the Philippines, and they grew up in extreme poverty and
Pinoy
overcame a
power.
lot. Yeah, there you go.
You're Filipino too?
Filipino.
I'm Filipino, man.
I'm a first generation,
Hey.
born in New York. But I was pretty closely tied to my roots, and still have family out there that does suffer from poverty that we support. So yeah, get that this idea of universal basic income and just raising the floor so people can thrive and survive, and also moving people out of this mindset of scarcity into a mindset of abundance. Then you realize, okay, when we have like 2.3 or so billion people on the planet that are living in some form of scarcity, holy crap, if you unlock their mindsets into a mindset of abundance and their creative energy, wow, we could solve crazy amounts of problems, like ridiculous amounts of problems. And even just from an economic standpoint, lifting people into, or rather out of poverty, gives them economic power, and it liberates them from authoritarianism, from crime, but it also creates market demand. So let's say you're interested in like a cure for cancer. Imagine 2 billion more people that can afford treatments for cancer and research. Like, the market forces will drive and accelerate those kind of solutions. So it benefits all of us, like, to move people out of poverty. And I think we need that to solve climate change, because right now, if everybody's in a mindset of scarcity, they can't even think about bigger problems. They're trying to like put food on the table and just keep the roof over their heads. And you ask them, it's like, all right, listen, start doing things to stop climate change. They'll be like, screw you. Like, I'm trying to survive right now, So that idea is like really intrinsic to me. And it's like, what I would love to do as part of our nonprofit is really to put a dent in poverty. And essentially what we're building is this engine of abundance to just enable people to do good things and get rewarded for it, and make a profit out of that. Whereas right now, it's just super hard to do good. You have to spend your time, your money, you have to sacrifice, leverage your networks. But we want to make it fun, easy, and profitable. Like, that's as basic as it gets, and it can scale infinitely. So it's an exciting opportunity, I'd say.
Oh, that's big brain, bro. Oh my goodness. Woo!
Yeah, it's there's a lot going on. But I figure like now is the moment. This is our generation's turn to really step up and just say, we're gonna solve these big ass problems. We're gonna come together and make a difference. And again, I was inspired by that campaign where it's just like these set of ideas and values really unite people. And you can activate that and make a powerful impact. So I've got a lot more optimism about the future thanks to that, Hannah.
Yeah.
And like conversations you and I had, like really energize people to step up.
This is the thing, because I think, Jeremy, when people want to make their own thing and introduce it into the world, either as a business and a nonprofit, there's really no roadmap. And it's like, how do you find that you deal with gaining momentum and having growing pains? How if you have a message that you want to spread to the world, like where do you start? Who do you talk to? Who do you get together and all that? So like, go through that process. So people out there who have an idea about a message they want to send or a thing they want to build, it's like, how do you put your best foot forward?
It is incredibly hard to start an endeavor like this. I have to admit. I mean, I'm losing my hair. Like, I've been doing this for a while. But I think at the end of the day, you have to think about, okay, what is the opportunity and what is the problem that we need to solve, and coming together with saying, this is the solution. This is my proposal or the value proposition we can create. like fundamentally it comes down to that. Like, what specific unique problem can you solve and that you can do better and doesn't exist today? It's really all about identifying that. But that ideas are like easy. I think like we all have ideas, but there's a sense of you need to not only take this
Implementation.
leap of faith, but yeah, you have to gather the right talent and the people. You have to galvanize them. You have to convince them that this is a good idea and they can benefit from that. You have to convince them to invest in you, either their time or the money.
The great sifting, bro.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah. You gotta get those diamonds in the rough kind of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. And
Separate
picking who you work
the
with
wheat
is
from the chaff. You have to separate the wheat, the heart, from the chaff, the useless outside.
Yeah, I think so, and also just investing in people to get their maximum or help them achieve their maximum potential. But and then you have to balance your time because you can't do everything at once. You got to really prioritize and focus in on what's like the absolute maximum impact that you can have. So it's you got to think about everything. It's like, what is a product that you're building? What's the service? What's the community around it and the users? How do you get your funding in place? How do you go to market and have the right marketing message and brand and positioning? So it's a tremendous amount of work. And what I learned is you've got to build a team. There's problems today are so complex that no one individual can really solve them alone. You need to be able to connect with people, and whether or not they're directly on your team, it's also establishing partnerships and supporters and your people, your users. So it's why I spend a lot of time with our community. Ariel can attest to this. We're talking pretty much every week. And it's all about just transparency and openness and authenticity. But you have to invest a ton of time and energy to really create a positive relationship.
I love when these worlds are colliding. So every Saturday that I have to say, like,
Jeremy, you don't know much about me, and we have people listening for the first time. I'm a master's level social worker. I don't hold a license, and I'm basically practicing clergy. I don't have a church really, although my home base is rooted with the Quakers that are conservative branch. So it's the very, very old tradition of sitting in silent worship and waiting for spirit to speak directly from the voice of God that comes from the light that shines through all things that were created. And
That's beautiful, guys.
that perspective,
Well,
I think, is very in alignment with many Eastern perspectives, and really speaks to the heart of what you're saying.
that's
My
wonderful, Kaizen.
internet's
Much
bad.
respect for you being a
I'm really
social
sorry.
worker.
My video off.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay,
Okay, cool. Yeah, Rafu, I'm having problems on the computer side, so I switched over to my phone. So I know what you're going through. But yeah, every single time that I can't do the extra hour on Saturday, it's because Jeremy can attest to this. Like, I'm with him, and like we're roughing out, or what do you call it, rounding out the edges, like that's what we're trying to do. And now that I love it that worlds can just collide, and it's not like I'm just saying, oh, I'm doing something and I'm just not really doing something. I am doing, and I brought him here to kind of attest to that. And so every single time I don't do that extra hour, I just want you guys to see what it's going to.
Yeah, sorry if I'm stealing Ariel from you guys. I apologize. But yeah, he's
bro.
making a big difference, honestly. And I agree. I think there is so much more that we humans have in common than we have than not. And unfortunately, we kind of, as a society, have lost sight of that. And part of it's the mindset of scarcity, where we create our in and out groups. And when resources and ideas become scarce, more people end up in the out group versus your in group. And I think, that's the key to solving a lot of or rather, it's one key element to solving this this crisis of polarization is just create abundance. Like, let people feel safe and secure, and they have a good future, and they're gonna be nicer to each other. Like, it's not like 100%, but
that radical,
Jeremy,
right?
yeah,
People look
totally.
at us like we're insane, like we're radical, and I'm like,
No.
no, I just want to be a decent human being and do an honest day's work and feel good about the work that I did. It's not about the dollar signs, but I certainly need them. But I'd like to have lots of them to do good things with, rather than stop pilot somewhere where all it does is
Jeremy,
like do this weird and that's a beautiful thing about where we're at and why I'm not ready to completely vilify capitalism, because I like this human-centered capitalism. I think it's a clever marketing tool to get us to the point we need to be. It's using the language we have today to communicate ideas that are so much bigger than this tiny little fragment of me and my nuclear family. We need tribes, and we need our tribes to be healthy and strong. And so if the white man wants to wipe away all the native tribes,
Jeremy,
we make
Jeremy.
our own. And we embrace the white man in us and everything else.
Jeremy, can I say something? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please.
You're talking like it's like a simulator, like it's Civilization. You ever play that yet?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're
What
out
a
of
fantastic game.
resources. Yeah, and people will attack us if we don't have enough resources or defenses. It's like, bro, like my brain is expanding through you, bro. It's like, damn,
No,
let's
I
go.
appreciate that. But like this is inherent to our history and our biology. Often we grew up in, or say tens of thousands of years ago, we were all very tribal and very small communities, maximum 150 people. It's called the Dunbar limit. And it's hard to forage for food and find stuff. So if you ran into another band of people, they would probably be wanting to take your shit. So you naturally had like the people that survive those environments are the ones that had like a very strong in-group out-group dynamic. So they survived, and then that's why we're kind of biologically wired for that. And it's not to say that we can change our biology, but we could definitely change our environment such that it doesn't trigger all these, undesired behaviors. So yeah, that's why I do think economic abundance is fundamental to improving society. And if we don't address that, it just makes every challenge that much more difficult to accomplish.
Like and some people think that they're alone.
I don't understand fundamentally why we're attached to like believing that we can't have an endless and unlimited supply of dollar signs when they're pieces of paper. It's not backed by anything but humans and what we want to exchange. It's just currency. It's become the false idol that separated us from our humanity. And so I think this is where we need to take the opportunity to turn dollars into the good-making things they are, and instead of having them be the evil things that they're not.
And I think little by little, Jeremy, people are realizing that the emperor has no clothes, because the old model of just get a degree and you'll make $1 million more. And I think that Kaizen can attest to this because she has a master's degree and she's been in such financial trouble. And everybody tells you if you get anything higher than a bachelor's degree, you'll be set for life, which is just a complete non sequitur at this point. Is that people are seeing that all of these corporations right now, like during the pandemic, they don't care about people's mental health and their well-being, and if they have like enough to get by day to day. Because when I was let off from my seasonal job at Best Buy, I thought to myself, like is it me? Is it something that I'm doing wrong that I didn't get to keep it after the season or something like that? But then when I went on their Reddit channel, I saw tons and tons of disgruntled employees saying that they're not being compensated enough, or that they're accustomed to receiving abuse from the customer, and they're just like at the end of their wits with like what's going on and the restructuring and how they're all afraid of losing their jobs. And some of them weren't even told that they would be jobless in a week or something like that. So I think more people in the private sector that realizes that this normal that we were taught was normal isn't really normal anymore. Like it'll naturally come into more of these things like what you're trying to do and what you're trying to create. Because I think that you've noticed, like dealing with some of these big companies, that it was mostly about the bottom line. And it was like if somebody had to get let go, or if somebody like didn't keep whatever it was that they were doing for years and years and years, that was just something that they were like, oh well, that's the way companies and corporations work, let's just kind of go through it. And yeah.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Reference, please.
I think sorry. In the gaming community, we call the new normal meta. That's what meta, why we mean by meta, because in like competitions, there are new metas being formed, like the newer normals because of the game being changed. So in the same way, in our US system, the game gets changed a lot, and then you have to follow the new meta. So our new meta should be UBI and like a healthier humanity system focused on that.
That's right. In fact,
Yeah.
one of our taglines is change the game, change the world. And really, we're just playing this like gigantic game of life. And we've designed this system and narrative, which is, hey, we've got to, consolidate wealth and just measure capital efficiency, and, people be damned if they don't align with that. And I think the big discovery, or rather one of my passions in the business sector, is we need to move from this bottom line point of view to triple bottom line. And what that essentially breaks down to is people, planet, and profit. Right now, all we measure is profit. And so it externalizes all the impacts to people and planet. But if we have corporations adhere to those triple bottom line goals, it balances out how we prioritize things. Because the CEO that's like, for a public company is beholden to shareholder interests. And right now, shareholder interest literally only measures one unit of one number, which is the profit. So if you change shareholder incentives and CEO incentives and executive pay incentives so that they have to, adhere to carbon taxes and not pollute the ocean, then it changes the entire dynamic. And then empathy doesn't have much to do in that scenario, because right now empathy can't scale. Like it's hard for us to process what 1 million people even look like, let alone like develop an emotional connection to every single one of them. So you have to think systematically and via these layers of incentives. And a lot of that's just really economics and behavioral economics, but I think it's a very powerful way to start.
Well, who
right
better?
now,
Yeah. Sorry, not to cut you off, but who better to understand systemic incentive structures than a game designer? Because what is a game but a series of overlapping incentive structures, right? That's it. You want the score. You want to preserve your health. You don't want to use all your mana. You want to have your gold. You care about your friends. You don't want to play too long all day. There's a lot going on. But I love it. But a game designer is 100% equipped with a transferable skill set for system design.
A reality designer.
Yeah, for more practical system design. Your systems, the systems you're designing, don't have to be games, because the real skill of game design is system design. Anyway, I've kind of said a mouthful, but I want to go back to the biological perspective that you brought up, where until a few 10,000 years ago or so, most people lived in, or maybe depending on how. Anyway, until for 99% of human history, we lived in very, very small communities. We've had a lurch forward in social and physical technology and we're just struggling as animals to adapt. In our animal brains and our animal bodies, it's a challenge. So the people who succeeded in a scarcity environment, which was the majority of human history for most of the world, not all the time, not all the time, and not in all places, but overall, it has been the people with a certain temperament, the temperament of a guardianship, of jealousy, covetousness, protectiveness, of selfishness, even, of insularity. Those are traits that might help you survive in a scarce world where you have to make ruthless decisions. But the opposite is true in an environment of abundance. Those traits, jealousy, intractableness, an unwillingness to compromise, wrath, will get you kicked out of a very peaceful community. You're going to be the one that has the from biological perspective, you're not going to reproduce as much. You're not going to be as appreciated by the community because you're a jerk. So what we have is a world where we no longer have the scarcity. We have, through our own wonderful efforts of technology, generation after generation, created abundance. But the people in control are the people with the temperament to thrive in an environment of scarcity. So they are inflicting upon us a manufactured scarcity. And that's really the root of the problem.
I think you're 100% correct. I agree with you completely. And it's interesting because, those behaviors are not because people are inherently bad. It's just that it's all these, incentives and these forces that are driving and incentivizing these behaviors. And it just so happens that the profiles that work well in those systems tend to be a bit more sociopathic. like I think the percentage of CEOs that are genuine sociopaths is quite high. From the studies I read.
Is that we never learn about these systems in school. We never, like, even if it's a bad system, you could at least tell me that these people are sociopaths. You could at least tell me that it's all about shareholder profits and it's all about this and it's all about that. If I was told that in school, I would have prepared for the rest of my life in a different way. I was just told, you don't need to know about that. Just work. And if you're willing to work and if you're willing to do work, you'll be fine. And nothing could have been more BS and further from the truth than that stuff that I learned. It was all lie.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And it's because it's so complex. Like, it's incredibly complex and in some ways intentionally obtuse. Because those that are in power want to design it so people don't understand how much they're swindling you. That's the sad truth, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
And I think that's probably the moment, or rather, we're in this moment of time where the pandemic has really laid bare all of the flaws in our systems, and other factors like her past presidency has really laid bare all the vulnerabilities of our system. And I do think we kind of were coming back to the whole tribal communities. What happened is through storytelling and creating a sense of a state or a nation or a religion start to bring people together and expand beyond 150 Dunbar limit. So we moved from a tribe into states into nations. And we're kind of stuck at that level. We need to be at a global species, group where we're still at hey, US versus China versus Russia, where our problems are not nation level, they're global level. So, widespread, inequality and climate change and artificial superintelligence, all of these are global problems. But if we're stuck at nations, we are not going to cooperate and still compete with each other. So I think that's a massive challenge we all need to, elevate from or elevate towards. Whatever. Go ahead, reference.
I got something. I got something. So, sorry. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So the first and foremost challenge we need to overcome is yourself. Yourself has to overcome yourself challenge. And then you go on to your family challenges. And then you go into your community challenges. Then it's the towns challenges, the counties challenges, the state challenges, the nation challenges, and then it's the global challenge.
That's absolutely right. That is the essence of Kaizen, Refluence.
Right.
One little bit of time.
I want to chime in here. So I live my life like a video game pretty actively. And I personally worked on my own mental health before becoming fully nomadic and traveling the United States for 2 years. And during that time, I was able to essentially find a baseline for myself, and that allowed me the ability to level up. But as I was going through and using and comparing the uh, hero's journey as kind of a template in combination with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all these other um, systems that have really created a beautiful template of how to live your life. I noticed I had to do uh, self love. And then I found this thing where it's like you need 5 core people in your life in order to be happy. And that's your cheerleader, that is your friend, your peer, your coach, and your mentor. And essentially, it kind of does go from within yourself and kind of builds out to a bigger network. And it's harder to find a mentor than it is, say, a friend. And you need to build out towards that vision, because that's what a mentor would do. But the coach is one that would challenge you to stretch you and all these other things. And so I have been actively leveling up, and I can feel when it happens, and I can feel when I've taken the next step, and I have I don't know, accomplished something. And I think more people could use something like this. But it wasn't until I decided to go minimally off of money to even pull it off, because I could not afford the loans. I couldn't afford the interest on the loans. I can't even take out a loan because I don't have great credit. And so I was like, I'm not going to let this hold me back. I'm not going to have this be the challenge I need to face. But overall, it was very helpful for me to really evaluate uh, the self and how I interact with the world. Because I run into a lot of people who have mental health issues or whatever, and I see it like because I'm staying in their home or I happen to run into them. And so when I encounter them, I have the chance to cause some healing in their own lives. And it's because I figured out myself, instead of adding to the drama that could have been there, I'm actually healing some of that so that they have a chance. But I also get the chance to educate them because I've gone down the path. And if I can learn it, I can teach it.
Right, right. And that's true. Actually, I think I taught GED for a while. After I stopped being a foster parent and a foster care social worker, I went into adult education, because in the state of Kansas, you need a master's degree. It doesn't matter what it's in. You just have to be able to teach reading, writing, arithmetic, civics. And I did teach all of those at the very lowest level, in part because you have to have an incredible amount of patience, because you're breaking through belief systems that are based on fallacies. But people don't know what a fallacy is if you can't read and write. If you don't know your math, you can't be taught much of anything. And so there's a lot of patience that goes into it to make that blossom of learning happen. So that's where that's the usefulness of like having this social work perspective that definitely, Jeremy, I've heard you express this today, is very much what social work is. It's you start where people are at, not where you want them to be, not where you think they should be. Well, he's 50 years old. He should know that 4 quarters makes up $1. But there are a lot of 50-year-olds that don't, because they don't read. And they're almost all Black and a few Mexicans. But I'll tell you what, if they've come over from Mexico, they know how to count. Their math is excellent. It's their language that's behind.
And
We have a
I
common
think
language of human love.
yeah, And you know, I think everyone's journey is different. So trying to time and set an expectation based off of how old you are is missing all these other variables in your life. And you know, human brains have incredible plasticity. So you can rewire your brain just with the right environment, good habits, you know, proper nutrition, sleep, etc., etc. And Faye, big shout out to you. That is awesome. That journey you described, and you know, your knowledge and wisdom is really fantastic. And I 100% agree with all of you that it's really about investing in people. And you're right, you got to start with yourself. And there's this urgency in finding ways to promote mental health because we are in the midst of the greatest mental health crisis in our generation. On top of all the other crises, you know, mental health is going to be, it's already a complete disaster. So I, you know,
Well,
I really also want to do a
I've
lot of help
never
there.
seen
I'm
a
very connected to
system.
that.
I've never seen a system better designed to fail than the recovery system. Because what are we recovering? Are we pretending like there was some point in our past that was healthy? Because there wasn't.
Hmm.
We don't want recovery, we want progress.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a
And I
nice way
think
of
it's
framing it.
a lot that
Progressive is labeled bad, right? You're a progressive. What's wrong with you?
mhm. and
I'm
I think
sorry.
it says a
Like,
lot
I
that
wouldn't
that
believe in it.
oh,
I'm shorting out again.
it's okay. I just think it says a lot that someone like you, Kaizen, is saying this because you're supposed to be a social worker. You're supposed to be helping people with their mental health, with their problems, with their confusions, and this system has you breaking down. That really says a lot when the people who are supposed to be working for the system and helping others have the system break them down. It's
Yeah.
it's beyond anything right now.
Well,
Go ahead.
and I'm
Sorry,
going to go back to a word that I brought up earlier, obscene. It's obscenity. What we do to people is obscene. So don't tell me I'm not a social worker and I'm not doing the thing that I'm supposed to do because I am. My crazy ass poet, performer, Quaker girl self, who's actually not less a girl and more a full two spirit person, because I will go down with any dude verbally. You will not take me down.
Hmm.
But I don't
You know,
fight.
Kaizen, I really like the way you use the term or frame it as making progress versus recovery. And you know, when you kind of zoom out on the world, we can see that there's tremendous progress being made in you know, reducing global poverty and extreme poverty, for example, or reducing childhood mortality, or you know, eradicating diseases. Unfortunately, this is the first set of years, the past like 2 or 3 years, where that trend has actually reversed. And that is the scary thing, is that we're not continuing to make progress. We're actually going backwards. And that is a very, very powerful indicator to me that, holy shit, we got to really do something big and different all over the place. And everyone's got to pitch in.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is I don't know, like if I haven't expressed the urgency enough, like I feel it every day. I'm just like, oh my god, we got to be working
You
our
Okay.
ass.
Jeremy, you're
So
not alone.
Mm.
We
no, not
that's
at
the
all.
reason why we created this too, and we wanted to broadcast this message. Go ahead, Kai. Yeah.
Well, and this is where I'm gonna do a little plug. Me and a close friend of ours, Miss Faye Doney, are going to be meeting in the Harquahala Mountains in Arizona. It's a little bit southwest of Phoenix on Valentine's Day weekend. And on Valentine's Day, instead of celebrating love with fucking roses and flowers and bullshit that's destroying the planet, we're going to go on top of the mountain and we're going to set some fires. We're going to burn in effigy on paper and poetry and whatever, and do whatever, because it's Bureau of land management land, okay? BLM land. So the rule is do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't leave garbage behind.
Thing
So
about
you
that
leave no
experience, though.
trace, and
But
we're gonna be on top of the mountain
you know,
somehow. And I'm trying to walk, and I'm gonna make that goal. Damn it.
so talking about this, so she's like, you can name it whatever you want for what you're doing, and I was like, I want to do it rebirthing man. So instead of burning man, it's rebirthing man, right? And it's going to be a healing ritual. To even show up is to say, I am intentionally going to be a different version of myself, as if a butterfly has finally decided to come out of the cocoon, And as I've traveled, I've met some pagans and I've learned some healing rituals. I learned it away from the mystical, because I think with all the neurology that I've learned, rituals, there's a lot of psychology behind it, and it's just intention setting. I said to somebody the other day, I was like, a ritual is just the first three words of a difficult conversation. It's taking that moment to really address something and at least fucking get the ball rolling on it. And also, if other people want to show up, that'd be really cool, but I anticipate maybe only 3 people. Okay, and that's okay too. It's me taking the moment out of my life to intentionally add value to what I want to do, and be a better version. And I'm about to like go on a huge quest, so this is like the beginning of that quest. I'm going to be doing essentially a tour across the United States. So
That
uh
sounds amazing, Faye. Really amazing, and big up to you for that
Yeah.
courage too.
Thank you.
Jeremy, Faye is like a survivor. I don't know if you know this story, but like a truck broke down in the middle of like nowhere, Alabama, in like a place called like Fort Deposit, with hardly any money, with hardly anything. She like made friends there. She investigated what was going on with the money, why the town was like collapsing. She got in touch with like the mayor. She got her truck fixed. So she's very, very resourceful, extremely resourceful person.
That's
Yeah.
The
amazing.
world, people from all over the world donated to making sure my truck got fixed, that I had somewhere to stay, that I was safe, and that I had food in my stomach. And a lot of that comes to the Yang Gang. Like, shout out to the Yang Gang, and like people in my personal life. But yeah, I actually want to get a universal basic income pilot started in Fort Deposit, Alabama. The mayor has not been as cooperative as I would desire. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to hit it from every angle I can, including going on a giant ass journey to bring resources to this town, get myself recognized, bring attention to me so that, people will be coming to me one day. And so I don't have to do this hard search and like whatever. But, I want to be able to show that anybody can do it, that anybody, because I came from a small town. I have no money. I fall through every crack in the fucking system, okay? And
Yeah,
I
right?
I want to show that it's fucking possible. And if one person can do it, you know what? I'm replicatable. I am a learnable skill. It might take you a little while and lots of learning curves, but it's not fucking impossible.
I feel you. I feel you. Rock on. Actually, so wait, what would you say is your quest? You say you're going to travel, and are you based in Arizona? Hey.
Okay, so I've been traveling the country for 2 years. So,
Ah,
my hometown is Washington State, and so my grandparents, for a few decades, would collect tools to build schools, churches, and houses in other countries. And since they're up there in age, they want to unload all their tools. So I'm going to go up there, obtain a moving truck, grab all the tools in addition to other donations. Like a friend of mine with terminal cancer wants to donate some supplies as well. And I'm going to use that as trade and barter in supplies to actually get real stuff to people. I'm not very good at quote transformation magic, but other people can like transform tools into money to turn into food. I don't know how to do that. I do believe in my ability to manifest, though. Um,
Craigslist.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, that's
Is that still going?
but I
Oh, yeah.
unplugged from technology for a good while, so I'm actually playing catch up on just learning how to use a fucking computer. And people are like, "Wait, you don't know how to use this?" I'm like, "No." Wait, you've never seen this movie? No, I am just unplugged, man, and
Right.
it's helped with my mental health.
That is really, really cool. I love this. I feel like I can learn so much from you, Faye. Really, really
We,
cool.
Faye
we,
and
we
I.
can have a talk on the side after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
In
love
fact,
that
like
you said that,
I
Jeremy, because like in my life, I always saw myself as like an ambassador. I can get like two people with totally different like kind of like backgrounds, understand both of them and put them together and see what can happen with that. It's like I remember one time I was hosteling in Chicago and I made a friend as a hostel mate, and I made these other two friends as like it like in the lobby, and then I introduced them to each other, and then they became so friendly with each other that they forgot about me. But then I reminded them that I still existed. But I love when that happens. It's so much
yeah.
fun.
Hey, it's the power of connection. Yeah, like I think just meeting people sometimes unlocks this entire world of possibilities. So it's fantastic. I think the connectors in the world are some of the most important people to bring about change and progress.
Oh,
So
thank you.
voila,
Very
there
short
you are,
time, you've
Ariel.
identified the role that our other Faye plays here. Sorry to rejoin you guys midway. So I feel like I've missed a few things. Like, I'm not sure who is JSM 127.
Oh, that's me. I was on a podcast here back in November, I think. I think my username is US Politics 2024 on Twitter now. I changed it from 2024. But
Conversation. Okay, very nice. Thank you for rejoining us today.
Yep.
And I see that we have Refluence with us. Can you tell me a little bit more, since I'm joining late again? Can you tell me a little bit more about Leyline and how people can use that for their best? For how can we use it in our lives?
Hey Faye, it's good to meet you. Unfortunately, I was instructed by my team to be very careful about what I could talk about because Leyline's a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 pending, so we're not technically allowed to like affiliate with any kind of political outlets, etc. So I have to just be very careful of what I can say. So I believe what I can say is that we are a nonprofit focused on trying to address some major issues, which includes extreme poverty, climate change, but also individual wellness and community activity. So what we're trying to just do is build this incentive model that will basically make doing good in the world easy, fun, and profitable. And it's working. So that's the cool thing, and we got a lot of work to do. But yeah, we're I think we could make a big impact. I've a lot of optimism, and from what I'm seeing and the momentum we got so far, it's really looking good. And to give a bit of background, sorry,
What you're doing right now is building it, or it's already in use. People are already using it.
It's kind of this like fascinating project where the community is directly involved in building it. So Ariel is one of our community members who invited me over to this discussion because he felt it's there's a lot to share, and I would love to talk about this offline if you want. I just can't officially
talk about it. Well, what about how do you become a community member that can be trusted with helping out?
Yeah, well, we got a great Discord community, which I'm happy to, connect you guys to. And our website is leyline.gg if you want to learn more. And, I've actually done quite a few podcasts and interviews, including one with Paget. So I don't know if you guys are fans of hers or friends, but it was a really great conversation. So yeah, I mean, and feel free to connect with me. I'm also on Twitter, probably connected to a lot of you because you probably all have blue hats. So I'm probably
we thought out blue hats at some point.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we're not actually very political in the sense that we don't really take sides on our podcast. So we call ourselves Yang Gang because we met through the Andrew Yang campaign. But pretty much, we have people spanning. Have quite conservative people with us, and people who are, like you guys were talking about the word progressive before I came in, and so we have people who of all different political persuasions that we connect here, and we don't really like do a lot of politicking other than saying let's go to vote, like very general things. Go out and to vote. Let's call our senators. Let's call our, we just ask for action, but we don't necessarily, promote a particular candidate. But we have hosted a lot of talks with candidates. So if you see one in our schedule in the future, you are welcome to come back if you wanted to meet somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and yeah, I agree. I love the approach you guys take, which I think is quite common in this movement, which is relatively apolitical. It's about like, hey, these are massive systemic problems that we gotta fix, and that was what was unique to me with that campaign, is that it wasn't about rhetoric or this ideological spectrum. It's like, oh my God, here are the numbers, and we got a crisis, and here's the most effective solution. Like, it was literally just that. You
That's who
sprinkle
we
on
are.
like empathy and love, and boom, there you go. That's Yanggang.
That's you just described our podcast. That's it. It's if it's like the politics is just really the backdrop, but the real thing is just these problems are ridiculous, that they're solvable, and let's stop getting caught in the culture wars so much, right? That's
I
kind of
describe our podcast, what I normally say to people is we are a think tank of people from all walks of life, from all over the world, trying to find actionable solutions to heal our country on a systematic level. Right? It doesn't talk about politics, it doesn't isolate to any particular region or anything. I'm just like, we want to solve the problems.
That's wonderful. I love
Faye
it,
and
and
I,
that's why I'm happy to be here. I love this spirit. It's very very pervasive across this community. So I totally feel it.
Faye,
So do you
Faye and
want
I
more
have
people to join our
decided.
community? Oh, I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah,
I'm
oh
going to
yeah.
let Kaizen continue what she's saying.
Yeah, I would say big time. We're planning to go very big, and we've got some massive partnerships and activations we're about to get in. And to me, it's like, this is really a product for the whole world. Yeah, we are focused on gamers because it's a very easy uh, behavioral profile that like would get all this stuff like digital currencies and gamification, stuff like that. But honestly, we just want to eradicate poverty, which means we want everybody on this platform getting value for doing good things.
You mean like
So
single moms?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I totally adhere to, valuing people correctly in the economy, and specifically parents, caretakers, teachers, musicians, artists. We are, my goal is to create a fantastic ecosystem that rewards those amazing qualities in humans. And again, like, very much inspired by how Yang calls that out a lot. And I think we can build a system that will reward it very directly. So that's something I'm very excited about. I think we can solve that.
I
Yeah, and
can't
I think
wait
we're
for our
ultimately
future.
more excited by Yang the human than Yang the politician, if
Oh
anything.
yeah.
Hi, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I want to let you say what you were trying to talk about.
Oh, I was going to say to Jeremy, well, Faye and I have decided that we're going to go out and save the world. We're going to do it one person at a time, but we're going to do it.
That's how it happens, one at a time. I
So
think
yeah.
you're on the right path.
David,
I really
awesome.
like that refluence, that like you're walking around and like you're showing the garden and the outside and stuff like that. Like in the city, I hardly get to see like these trees and these views and stuff. So I'm glad to have you on. You fit like Kaizen. You have yeah. I see he wants to say that. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't want to interrupt, but I just want to say that right there.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Dave. And some decades ago, I started a business project that, it's tipjar.com, and it's completely stalled. And the vision there is ledgers for everybody. And I intend to reach out to leyline.gg with some sort of proposal, for working.
I would love that, and I would love. I will talk to anybody, and to me, the way I try to set everything up is always a win-win. And yeah, let's totally chat. I would love
Can
to
we?
connect.
All right. I've got.
Can we come visit you in LA?
So we'll
Of
come visit
course.
you in LA
Yeah.
sometime.
He's in Orange
Soon
County.
for my birthday.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
I
turn
always love the.
47.
That's fantastic. I always like enjoyed the hangouts. I know like that one moment before the campaign ended, we were all in Vegas hanging out. That was a great time. Hopefully we at least
I
are
see
getting
somebody
tested and
nodding
are
over there.
vaccinated.
Was Hannah there? Hannah's nodding.
Wait, Vegas too. I didn't see you. I don't think.
It
Was it-
was oh, you were in
Did
Vegas,
you?
dude? I don't
I was
know. There's a
helping,
lot
I
of people
think.
there.
There was
Yeah.
a lot of people in Vegas helping. That's for
Yeah.
sure. It's funny. I
Uh
probably
You
maybe
already
passed
knew Jeremy
by it.
also.
Yeah. But it's like, why do we feel that we only have the right to be happy and creative and having fun and hanging out together when there's a campaign going on? And I think that's the thing. It's like can't we just like be that way just by default because like we're awesome and we have great ideas whether Yanger existed or he didn't. It's
People have proposed a Yang Con that could happen independent of any
Oh yeah.
particular Yang action. One would hope Yang himself would go and
Rebirthing
endorse,
Man.
but you know, Rebirthing
Yeah, I was
Man.
about to say.
Everybody
I was about to say.
That's
I
what
wouldn't
we're
mind
about.
some.
Come with us. And if you can't come with us, climb the highest mountain near you or a hill.
Yeah, I
Send
wouldn't
some
mind
lava at night.
visiting an alternate reality at Reburning Man, or sorry, Rebirthing Man,
Rebirthing,
Rebirthing
right?
Man.
Hannah,
I
did
think
you already know
it's
Jeremy before the
self-destructive.
podcast?
I was just saying, if it was more technological, it would be Rebooting Man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, so
Mike,
Hannah
that
and
event in your face, but you host that one, Ariel.
Sure, why
Rebooting
not?
Man up on the mountaintop on Valentine's Day. Invite all
Installing
your
something.
friends. We'll see who shows up. It's a great time
So I had
for
a question, which
vacation.
is, did Hannah already know Jeremy too before this?
Yeah, we hung out. We met at Vegas actually during the campaign. I forget which event. But yeah, we were at Caesars, I think. We first met.
I was hanging out with Qua and you were one of his friends that were there. Yeah. And then we hung out in Vegas and then LA briefly after.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of events. I think David Kim's event as well. So yeah, we got a lot of connections back in the past. And Ariel, he's been a part of the Leyline community, and it's like, yeah, he's a good dude, and invited me over.
Yeah, that's cool because he had his interview with Paget like 2 days after I had my interview. Unfortunately, mine is unlisted for some reason. I don't know why. Whatever,
Well,
but I still have a copy of it.
She unlisted a lot of them. Yours is not unique, so she's unlisted many interviews. So she may just be organizing, reorganizing.
Or if you said keywords like I can't say it, but C19, actually YouTube starts to flag them, and so a lot of people have to take down videos because it gets flagged by YouTube. I think because they're trying to like cut down on misinformation, so they basically flag anything that says like literally those words.
What's that?
No, the pandemic, the virus. If you say the virus like full name, actually there's some algorithm in place.
What I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Yeah, it's a miss. But I have a mirror on my YouTube channel, so there's that, and it's still okay. So yeah.
Well, I'd love to find out more about if we were actually part of the community, right? Then what does that entail right now? What do? We go to the website and we sign up, and then we have to join the Discord server.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely. I'd say.
Then what happens?
So yeah, we're in this like exclusive friends and family alpha test phase where we have a very, very rough proof of concept. And so, normally in kind of the games industry, it goes through like alpha, beta, closed beta, open beta, and then you finally launch live. And so it's the early participants that help give a lot of feedback, and they're the most passionate people that care about the mission, and so they're kind of helping to design and test it out and say, oh, here's a bunch of bugs here, or here's a few things that I think would be better. And that's beautiful practice because it makes people feel engaged and have a sense of ownership and stake on what's being built. And to have direct access to the developers, you could basically help influence the future of what the product and service looks like. And so, I think that's a very powerful way of doing development, where it's like very community driven, very transparent, and you're holding yourself accountable to the people that are using your product.
And I think the beauty of that is that when you join like a big fat corporation and you're just a number, it gets kind of like it's not what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you don't feel that you have some kind of connection when you're just a number somewhere, but it's like, hey, I knew this thing when it started. I was there with all you guys. And then but when you start on a ground floor, it's a really, really different experience that you could say like you were one of the pioneers, and that's great. And if you alpha testing, one more thing and then I'll be quiet. Alpha testing is kind of like, you can think about it like the bones, and then beta is like the meat on those bones, and then everything else is like the skin. So we're like at that bones kind of stage.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
a great
Ariel,
analogy.
you're talking about the concept of social investiture and social ownership. We're so
Social
alienated.
capitalism.
Yeah, well, yeah. If Sheridan were here, we're so alienated by most of our social systems right now that we don't feel like we're active participants in them, much less owners or stewards of them. So we're hungry to create something we have an ownership of, some personal stake in, that is somewhat an expression of ourselves, and we have a personal understanding of. It's human nature, and we've been deprived it because we've not been able to really make our own communities. We've been, just pushed into poverty and atomized into little tiny fractious communities.
Right. And that's the whole idea of why I love the thing of UBI. Because look, let's just pretend if I were a millionaire, I don't just want to consume, because it leaves me empty inside. I want to create. It's like sure, like if I could afford like a big fat, like, I don't know, centerpiece or a chandelier or something made out of gold, I'd give that up in a heartbeat if I could just create something that's awesome, and that people like and stuff like that. So you can't, but everybody assumes that people just want to mindlessly consume and like just eat and just buy, when I want to use like extra money or $1 million so I can make something awesome and amazing that people would look at and say like, wow, that's cool. It would give me so much more fulfillment than just going on a shopping spree. That's it.
So Ariel and everybody. So here's an insight that I just received, which is that when Elon Musk passed Jeff Bezos, to me, that represents that shift from scarcity, because Bezos's empire is all about gather, get it easy, get it fast. You don't have to worry about it. It's going to be right there, right? Well, you can see minute by minute where your package is. Calm down. It's coming, right? If you have the dollar signs, you can get whatever you want delivered to your doorstep. And Elon's empire is not about any of that at all. It's about enabling us to get from point A to point B as economically as possible, so we can blow off this rock and go see what else is out there, because we know it's possible.
There's definitely something about that leadership style, which is, I think, very key, which is giving a very clear purpose and mission. And that, I think, is a key separator, which is the mission behind Elon's companies is solve the climate crisis, make humanity a multiplanetary species, eliminate like annoying ass traffic. Like, these are things people can really rally behind and say, yeah, you know what? That is a problem I want to solve. not like, hey, I want to make sure that we sell as much like bullshit to people, like stuff they're not going to use anyway. That is a very different optimization, or rather, the purpose is very different. And so I think as a result, people flock to Elon because they see that there's this vision. And that's the thing about purpose, is that it brings the best talent, but the best minds, it unlocks this creativity because people have this
Amen.
passion. Yeah.
And I kind of think that the reason that he leapt ahead is because enough very wealthy people got scared that like true civil war was getting ready to break out and that they were going to lose their heads at the guillotine. So they were buying tickets on his spacecrafts. Seriously, like they were buying the tickets up like mad. They want off this rock because they know their day is coming. I see, Shale. You get it. You feel it too. It's true.
There's some truth to that for sure. I've studied them a lot. Like as an entrepreneur myself, I feel like you got to study the most successful people, and I actually really appreciate a number of things. One is that he uses very, very strong scientific principles and first principles. So all the way down to like understanding the laws of physics and then building a reality from that layer. Whereas most of the time we reason by analogy. He's basically saying, okay, got it. What's the most basic thing we could do to set up a car? It's like, do we really need this giant combustible engine in the front? It's like, no, let's just do a flat bed of batteries, which lowers the center of gravity, and you can stack on any like frame that you want on top of that. That's just totally rethinking. Whereas most people would be like, oh, how do we like plug a battery into the engine, space here? So there's something super interesting about his approach to problem solving, which then becomes pervasive throughout the organization. So I think that's where you're seeing this like incredible amount of innovation all the time, because that entire culture, acts and thinks that way. So it's very, very powerful leadership elements at play. And so yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty
So
cool.
Jeremy, I just signed in, okay, to leyline.gg. And it says you're on our very special wait list. There
That
are
is
only
correct.
1,138 people ahead of you.
Hang on, Faye, before you did that, like, am I losing out here, Jeremy, because I didn't get her through the invite link? So
no, we could actually correct that very quickly. So
nice.
Let's talk offline. I could hook you guys up pretty easily.
I just wanted to know, like, if our listeners hear you talk about this, all right, that they might be interested in joining you. And I don't know, is that something they're allowed to do or no? So
I'm not
currently
really allowed
when
to
you
say all this
join,
stuff, but yes.
so currently when you join, you're just like in a queue of people just sitting.
Correct.
Okay, so it's very interesting.
As part of like the closed friends and family alpha, I kind of think of it as I don't know if you guys were participants in like the original Gmail beta, but that was like a very fascinating time where people were just like paying $100 for an invite to Gmail on eBay. So we're kind of creating a little bit that like scarcity and this idea that, hey, this is an exclusive thing because we give a lot of great perks. You will be getting cash value out of this thing. But it's kind of that rollout strategy of like, hey, the way Facebook started, it was exclusive collegiate network, and it went campus by campus before it became a public product. So we're kind of going in that direction where, and also because it's still a very rough and early product, we don't want to open up the floodgates and, like our stuff falls apart or people like, what is this piece of crap? Like we want to really keep it focused. So that way we can have very deep and authentic conversations with our testers and community and really listen to their feedback and demonstrate, hey, we can make these improvements every single day. So it's kind of training us to be, better developers, and then making sure we can keep good quality and at the right pace and scale accordingly. So that's kind of the logistics around it.
I know you've been instructed not to say certain things, but I think if I can see it online, then we can talk about it, because this would be if anybody came to the website just like I'm doing now.
That is true.
I just go ahead. I went ahead and I signed up, and it says that I have a zero balance. Now, what is this balance going to mean in the future, or is that something we don't know about?
Wow, Faye, you are really
What does it
entrapping me.
mean,
This
a
is
balance?
incredible. Very well done.
No, I shouldn't.
I could go
Also, you
into
have a
way more
donation page.
detail.
If you
I'll
want
go
to talk
into way more
about donation
detail.
page, okay.
I mean,
Which
is
one
it
do you want
possible
to
to
do?
Think about points
Ariel talk
cryptocurrency.
about it since he's a
Oh
volunteer?
yeah, that's right. Ariel can probably talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So you
You
give me
didn't sign some sort of non-disclosure
I'm gonna.
agreement? Wait a minute.
okay. So I'm getting so Jeremy, it's fine that I talk about it, like what we're kind of like doing in there right now, or
I would
like is
imagine so, because I'm just a guest here and I'm just observing you guys have a conversation. So, I'm not gonna
okay.
stop you from
So
Yeah, you're an
yeah,
independent
free
volunteer.
speech, right? It's like the First Amendment.
Experiences.
right. Okay.
Special sneak peek into this.
That's cool. We're kind of like creating excitement for the whole thing, so I'm down. And Faye, I started in the same way, but I just kept on like bothering Jeremy in Discord enough times until he finally got me into.
That's right. That's right.
I hope I didn't bother you too much, but yeah. So
Not at all.
so what happened is that basically like there are ways to earn points. It has to do with like your mental health and stuff, and basically there's like a daily exercise that gets you some. There's like a what's the other one? We just added like sleep, and each time you do these daily activities, it's based on an honor system, and you just click a button. And the biggest thing we're doing right now is like donating computer power to things like cancer research and mapping some kind of things, finding cures to like diseases, like that. That's what I can say for now. And then the more of these points that you rack up, you can reclaim them for actual money in the form of gift cards and discounts and stuff like that. So I hope it's
Okay. So without all of us having signed on to the community to help, can we maybe all contribute an idea or two about things that are healthy for us that in the future may gain points for this balance? Because I would like to suggest maybe giving points for doing some kind of diet related thing, for example, an intermittent fast or something like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Or if
And
you choose,
absolutely, I think we'd love to have ideas from all over the place. And, I would say in general, I would love for us to be able to build these networks of nonprofits, NGOs, communities that are interested in creating positive outcomes. And ideally, we just stitch it all together by a common economy.
So
And
if I have been scouting these nonprofits you talk about or helped build them, well, how could I help you? Just talk to you and just be like,
yeah,
here's their
absolutely.
okay.
We
Because
will
like,
talk
I
to
mean,
everybody.
this podcast does a lot of that anyway. We are kind of like a weird hub that everybody can come to, and you can still contribute and come back later at a later point if possible. But I mean, I've been working directly with teams of people from all across the United States and the world, really. And I've been learning from different cultures, even just how to contribute and what they found. And I've been doing a lot of on the ground level research as well. When I was in North Carolina, I found this place where they donated vehicles, and mechanics would donate their time, and then people who couldn't afford vehicles could get vehicles. Maybe a single mother, blah blah blah, and then they don't have to worry about repossession of that vehicle, kind of stuff like this. And then I could replicate that in a different state like Alabama, where I see a whole bunch of vehicles that the owner is like, well, I don't actually want them there, they're repossessed vehicles. I'm like, but you're not near any services. The people who need those services can't even get to them because their vehicle's been repossessed and now they can't even work. So it's a broken cycle. But if I know these things, I can do something about it.
That would be fantastic. And, I think that's the key. It's like, how do we connect all of these needs and opportunities and the people that are working
Right.
on it and empower those people? That's definitely the play. So we should definitely talk.
and also like fill the holes that all of our regular institutions like aren't filling. I mean, damn. Remember when Biden was like, Georgia, I need you guys to vote in Ossoff and Warnock to get the 2,000. We did it. Where is it? Come on. Like, let's go. Let's do it's just they're so slow and incompetent sometimes. They don't keep their promises.
Yeah,
So
and well,
currently,
I
I
think
see. I
please
also
go ahead,
see
Beth.
that. Okay, I'm sorry. I was still sort of in the process of trying to understand what you're doing, and one of the things I'm seeing here is that you guys, in the redeem section of the website, a lot of these are gift cards that represent different types of games or gaming companies. Is this because you have actually signed up some of these different different corporations to, or is it just a mock-up?
We've got quite a number of partners already signed on,
So,
and
so these are actual
yeah,
partners you've talked to. Yeah. And of course, some of these, I guess that would be like people that you have naturally connections to because of the industry you were in before as a developer.
yeah,
And
I
so
would say
it
so.
just
I think
naturally became.
Yeah, it's a big part of it is my history throughout the games industry. I was able to play a lot of different roles. So I started off as producer, product manager, building our tech platforms. I moved out to Paris for 3 years to work on digital marketing and publishing. Moved back to Irvine to do esports and business development and international operations. So I ended up making just a ton of connections, like whether it was like just talent and developers and marketers or brands and other businesses that were really partnering up for this ecosystem. And so what I did is I just like hit up that Rolodex. I was like, hey, listen, help me out. I'm trying to do something here. And it worked, obviously plenty of misses. And I've had to pitch probably a couple hundred times at this point. But it's just a volume game. Eventually someone's going to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, let's do this.
And
That's
that's
just the nature of
interesting.
sales, and
Yeah,
convincing
because
people.
that's something that we need to look into, because a lot of people, maybe they're not comfortable being a salesman, or they're not comfortable kind of like networking and stuff like that, but they have so much intelligence and talent. And I think like I can reach out to those people, because I mean, I've been a part of a lot of like corporate or other kind of like sales situations, and it kind of seemed like a frat house to me. And I'm not really comfortable with this kind of like frat house kind of like sell mentality. So,
Same.
and same, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, but I do have a lot of ideas and originality and stuff like that. I but so that's why I think I can work better when someone's speaking to me in a kind of better way, and I know how to speak to those other people who feel the same, that are not of that mentality. I just need someone with the contacts, and that's why I'm so glad that I'm a part of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love it. I really love it. And there's something to
So
be said about salesmanship as a skill. Because there's like the whole sleazy salesman stereotype, but really the essence of it is understanding what a person is needing and what they want, and for you to help communicate and bring that together and say, hey, here's the solution to your specific need. That is really the
Right.
essence. And
Yeah.
so you need a
Do,
lot of
that's
empathy. Just
and that's where political organizing is what we also need to do. That salesmanship is learning what people really how they are aligned with us, so that what we're trying to accomplish is actually beneficial to them as well. And that's the explanation we need to always be giving.
absolutely.
So actually, I was wondering, are you also still looking for donations? Because I went to the donate page, right? And I see that you have a GoFundMe up with a $500,000 goal. Is that for something else? Or is
No,
that for
that
your
is
own?
that. Yeah, that is absolutely it. So, man, how much could I say here? I would simply say yes, but there's a lot more context that I could talk about offline.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah,
Even,
it is a
even,
nonprofit. It is a
wow.
nonprofit.
But if somebody wanted to contribute to you, they could go there and do that.
that is a true statement.
Goodness.
Yes, with 501c3 organizations, it is a tax. They accept tax exempt receipts, and they can also backdate it if they're pending status. So it just so happens that Leyline is pending 501c3 status. Wow, this is such a
so
weird
it's still
dance of
pending.
words.
Difficult. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never had to do this with any of our guests, I don't think. This is pretty new to me.
I'm sure my
Well,
team is
how
like
about-
freaking out right
It's
now.
nice to learn. It's nice to
Wow.
learn. I like it because it seems that like we're more official now. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
We're getting people with secrets.
Yeah, and I think like to your point earlier, Faye and Kai, it's you just got to go one by one. We can change the world one step at a time, and that to me is the key. It's like I just love to connect to people and share these powerful ideas, and some people, or what I've found is that it resonates. People want to have this positive impact. They want to change the world. They just don't have a good pathway to do it, and that's what we're trying to create is a pathway for people to solve problems.
There is something called Good Dollar that it's a cryptocurrency. You've heard of it? Okay, good. I was going to say it seems like you might want to be connected with the people doing that. You might have some common ground. You might be able to work together. So I'm glad. And obviously you can't really talk about the details of that, but I see you nodding, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, I think this is the beautiful thing about the blockchain and crypto space is that it's very much about decentralizing power, because really it's all consolidated into like government or all these giant tech companies that are consolidating it, and there's this movement towards just what they call decentralization. Oh, there you go. Good job, Hannah. You got to invest in the future.
Account?
I missed it. I missed it. What else did we do?
I missed that. What was that?
It's a Bitcoin balance.
Okay.
That's Good Dollar. That's
Good
nice.
Dollar.
Very
Sorry,
nice.
sorry.
Very nice. Good.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, what happens with these new technologies is that it can actually create abundance in and of itself. So that's how Good Dollar functions, and that's how we get to function, is that we can build these new types of business models that just create value for everybody, versus like it becomes a positive sum game versus a zero sum game. So in my eyes, all these organizations like Good Dollar, like Leyline, and all these other kind of benefits programs, we should all just like come together. And that, to me, that connection is what's going to bring about this universal basic income, because there's all these different programs you can participate in with almost like zero cost, and you just reap the benefit for doing good things. So that's the path that we're starting to build now.
Right.
People are going to start to understand that that the money doesn't have to always be controlled and minted by the government, that you are creating your own and you can trade again directly without the other
I think
party
because
involved.
we're so programmed when we go through life, whether through it's our family and our schools, to constantly be waiting for permission. And when you're like, when you're kind of done with school, and when you think you're an adult, but your whole life it was always like, wait to do this, this is your permission to do that. And it's like, we got to learn how to create on our own, like be our own leaders, be our own creators. And that's not there, because we're so used to this top down model of like being told what to do. And some people have so much talent and energy, but they just don't know where to put it. It's not that they're lazy. It's they don't have the instructions, and they don't have the kind of guidance that they need to make something of the energy and the talent that they have.
Yeah.
And so we have a sense of belonging. So we end up having workplace tribe. We end up having an after workplace tribe, whether it's our family and our children and our marriage or our relationship, or the group of people that you hang out in the coffee house with, or the bar, or the gym, and then we have the interior space. And what are you feeling that interior space with? And what I hear Jeremy saying, what I've said, meant for years, and what we've all who've been inspired by Andrew Yang and what he's brought into this world suddenly that seemed surprisingly out of nowhere. To
And
me,
Kai, actually, you have a
represents.
very
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think you're really on point there, particularly even with the tribes and, kind of the whole nation level tribe where we're stuck at right now. I do think this path to decentralization is how we actually create the Earth tribe. Because like money is actually the most powerful story we've ever created. It's just a story that we all like just believe in universally.
And it's the best story. It's literally the story of abundance because money can be limitless. It can be. We've just chosen to believe that inflation is real, and inflation is only a reflection
I like to
of
say
the value of the resources that you're getting.
the only inflation I see is the inflation of the already overinflated egos of the leaders that we have.
Go check.
That's it. That are telling us all these bad stories. Their egos are overinflated because we can have a UBI. It's just their egos that think that we can't.
Well, so I want to go back to what I was trying to say before Jeremy took the mic for a second. But and I've had private conversations with Reverend Wendy, who's going to be our guest here in a couple of weeks, on this time slot, general time slot. That this is a movement of the Spirit, and in a lot of true believers in the community of faith, that this is the second coming. What's happening right now, this discussion itself, and this movement that we're all in is the manifestation of 2,000 years of struggle. And the tipping point was reached several years ago. And in fact, in 2012, when Occupy happened. So this has been a while coming. What Occupy did was tell us where we were broken as progressive thinking people, where we needed to focus our energies, and where the mechanisms were in our current system that we could capitalize on. I'm going to reclaim that word. We capitalize on the areas like non-for-profits, like churches, like super PACs, not political action committees, super PACs. They're big money laundering devices. They're designed to bring dollars in and put dollars out. It does not have to be for politics, though a lot of dollars go out that way. It can be literally for living, for getting on a yacht, for taking a vacation. There's your there's your UBI. Dump it all in a super PAC and have that be your mechanism. And Andrew Yang saw that and capitalized on it himself and reclaimed the words so that we can move from scarcity, which is market economy, into abundance, which is communism.
Well, and I think there's something also about even moving past these ideological frameworks and just reinventing elements of our society. Not like completely, of course, but we just need an upgrade. Like our operating system is like 200 years old. Like, I mean, does anybody use like Windows 97 right now? It's like, let's just freaking upgrade. It's like,
look.
I thought the machine with XP on it.
Is the youngest from what's her name? Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are both older than Joe Biden. Joe Biden will be the oldest president that we've ever had. What is this? What is this? Some of these people don't know how to use a Gmail account. They have their aides do it. They have their staffers do it. This is pathetic. This is
the gerontocracy.
We can do much
and
better.
I don't want to demean anybody, but come on, lizard people. Um,
Well, I think
the
it's just
most
also like an
competitive
age gap. For example, it's like, would you imagine hiring a 70-year-old CEO? Like that would just not fly because,
Right.
not to say, not to have ageism, but realistically, your mental function degrades over time. And also your ability to understand the rate of technology and what's changed over time too. You just fallen behind. So with exponential growth in technology and really old people, you have a recipe for disaster where people just
Well,
don't know what the
yes,
fuck's going on.
yes,
chime in here. I want
yes.
to chime in here. I unplugged for like a solid year, pretty close, right? But probably closer to 2 years. I haven't been in for 2 years. I haven't been in a home, so I'm not around technology as it evolves. I was like, the Xbox is on what number now? That game's on what number now? Like, I couldn't even keep up. I was like, what is this even? What? How many Final Fantasy games are there now? And so for me, it's like all the numbers have just like gone through a time warp, and I'm like, I don't even know how to use editing software anymore. I don't know how to, like, what microphone do I need? Is that a thing I need? And it's just even if you unplug for just a minute, you fall behind. Imagine if you weren't even born in it. My grandma, I love my grandma. My grandma and my mom are trying to do this every Sunday. They do a Bible study together, and they finally got their little mic, and they look so cute when they're doing it too. But my grandma's always like, "Can you help me with my computer? Can you help me with my phone? I broke it again." Like she doesn't
Same.
understand technology, but oh man, she's putting the effort in, and because she finally has a place to have a social outlet, which she never did before. My grandfather, he's quite the social butterfly. Okay, so he's off having all these other conversations, and she's just like, I need my own circle of friends. And now that she has technology, she has that ability. But my grandfather just got a flip phone maybe like 2 years ago, only because the doctor was like, you need a phone. Okay, and so he's like super behind in technology, and it's just like a huge disconnect, and that's
Yeah.
happening everywhere. And if you were in the countryside where you don't even have Wi-Fi, you might as well live in a bunker these days. Okay, you're just so disconnected from reality, and you're going to have culture shock. Okay, and that in itself can be pretty traumatic because you don't even know what's going on in the world no more. And I
That's
grew
Well,
up
the
in a
right.
thing
small
is,
town that
the
didn't have
world is,
Wi-Fi.
yeah,
They do. They really do. They know technology better than my friends that are like 10 years older than me or 15 years older than me that are in their early 60s
Yeah, and I think
that
that's a
grew
challenge is
up
that
in
if
tech.
yeah, and the people that are in charge of our safety and well-being, if they don't even understand the user interface, let alone the algorithms that are taking place and manipulating us, that's a really bad situation. I don't know if you guys have seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix,
Yes.
but that was the shit that I saw firsthand. Like I was working with these tech companies, and literally, I was just like, "Why don't we have a code of ethics on marketing right now?" Like this is scary shit. What
There
these
used
tech
to
companies are
be.
able to do?
There used to be.
Yeah.
And there is.
I keep having to mute you because you have persistent background noise, and then I keep missing the beginning of what you're saying. So please,
Oh, that's on my side.
no, not you, Kaizen.
Oh.
Sorry, it's just like it keeps you have very loud like wind and stuff in the background periodically. So just mute yourself when you're not talking, and then and then unmute yourself when you are talking, please, or turn on noise suppression. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I wanted
No
to
problem.
actually say that one of the problems that I see in terms of the technology is that the most conservative technology users are the industries where it's very essential, okay, that the technology stays working. So they don't want to be upgrading constantly. And the second reason is when they have to interface with the rest of the world, because the world is very large. So, for example, the travel industry has continued to be using the same technology they've been using probably since the 1950s or 60s. And it just they just never really upgrade fully. They can upgrade sort of new. You can build things on top of what existed. It's very difficult to go drill down to the bottom and redo everything, because then you would have to get people in Kenya on board. You have to get people in places where they don't have internet sometimes back on board. And so it's just there's places where they're still using paper tickets for things. And so the more and then for any of these processes to if the transportation system were to go down, that would be really difficult. And so there's a lot of what's happening now is that the technology is developing so fast, but not only are people not able to keep up with it, there's this sort of the
and
bureaucracies
not
that handle really essential processes can't
right.
upgrade themselves.
And not only the social dilemma, Jeremy, but the great hack too.
Yeah.
It talks about like doing it only for political purposes. And you know what's funny? The lady who was tinkering with the algorithms so more people would see like Trump based things was working for Obama before. So then they said, you were a big Obama supporter. Why did you change to Trump? And help him with all these things and do all these things with Cambridge Analytica, work with Cambridge Analytica. Well, she said the Obama, when I was a volunteer for Obama, but hey, I got to pay my bills, and Trump's team was paying people. UBI, you can't do this anymore. You can't just say volunteer, be a political, work for us, and we'll give you absolutely nothing. They're gonna go to the dark side because the dark side is paying them. I'm not against like conservatives and Trump, but they're just gonna do it's like why people are just gonna throw their morals and their beliefs in the trash if they can't afford to pay the rent. They're gonna go to the people that are gonna be paying them. It stop UBI, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's a great point.
we've actually talked to somebody very recently who is doing something called I Need Food live, and he's wanting to find people to help him do the development. So is this something where we could like maybe find out from you what is the best way to start? What do you think he should do in order to get the
Yeah,
right
I
people on
mean,
board?
I would love to just have a conversation because I think there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to the network we have access to. So one of my other gigs at Blizzard actually is with TESPA, which is our collegiate organization. So I have a pretty wide network of about 1,000 high schools and a few hundred colleges across North America. And my hope is to really activate and give opportunities to students to get hands-on experience building stuff and working with mentors and industry veterans. So yeah, I've got a lot of tech capability in my network. So happy to talk to people that are trying to do good things
Yeah.
and need,
So
technology.
I think Faye is the person that's going to get you connected with our friend and who is working on his app. And so I
Lovely.
think that's the person you're going to get the information through later.
This is
Okay.
fantastic. I'm super excited about this, guys. Like it's the
Yeah.
whole network effect, right? We're, helping
there
people
you
out and
go. There
doing
you
good.
go. And that this is the beauty of it. Look, I think Discord is wonderful because like there are no mean tweets, there are no attacks. Like we've had this whole conversation without like cussing each other or having our political beliefs fire us up and hit us in our amygdalas and have us attack one another. It's possible. We just got to do it.
Yeah, long
Is
form
it the
content as
size of the
well.
community?
Mm,
Is it because of
Uh,
the size of the community is more limited
Yeah,
in the
I think
Discord space?
yeah, that's it. And long convos because long form content. What Jeremy said because then we can like iron out all the things that we disagree on. When a tweet is only like 150 characters or less, how the hell are we gonna get in debt? There's the breadth of the subject and there's the depth of a subject. So much of our soundbite culture is focused on little tidbits here and there, like breadth, like a lot of tons of subjects hitting you quick. But this is depth, and depth is so important because then you can go like more of a scientist. You can see more meticulously. You can do more research as just see everything as like on the surface where you're not really gonna know unless you take a deep dive.
yeah. and the scope and complexity of our systems is just getting larger and more sophisticated over time. So in order to even understand things, you need even deeper conversations. So it's like this like bifurcation happening where it's like our attention spans are like this and the complexity is like that. So we're literally, getting informed at this level is kind of rough.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's why
I
I
feel
think
like
podcasts and long form content are kind of a necessary evolution of consuming information.
Well, having this 2-hour format, which we're almost at the end of, so I'm going to get some information from everyone in a minute. It feels like 2 hours is a really long time to devote to something or somebody nowadays, right? People want to watch like 10 minutes at most. Most of the time, it's like, okay, give it to me quick. I don't have time for that. But we're giving people information in such a short space. But even with that 2 hours, it feels like such a short time to spend with somebody when we've got 5 or 6 people who all want to speak to you. And so thank you very much for coming and sharing your time with us.
It's my
we really
pleasure.
appreciate
I'm really honored, honestly. Like I thank you guys for all the good things you're working on too. So it's mutual for sure.
Well, we appreciate Ariel for inviting you and for participating in your project. Sounds like a lot of people in Yanggang have some knowledge of Jeremy because of maybe past events that you guys have attended together. And so I think we had a really good episode today. Now, Jeremy, you're not looking for people specifically to connect with you through leyline.gg, but would you like to have anybody reach out to you by social media after this and
Oh
just
yeah,
have those
in
conversations?
any way possible. Actually, I mean, everyone's free to sign up for an account. It is totally free, and if you hop into our Discord server, we are happy to hook you up. But
Well,
yeah,
how do they get an invite to your Discord or find out about Discord?
I'll make sure Ariel is able to share the invite link.
Yeah, I have anything you want to know, you guys, just go through me.
Yeah, right on. And if you want to hit me on Twitter too, my DMs are open. My tag is poet, but with underscores. So it's P_O_E_T. Sorry, it's kind of complicated. But yeah, you can
Oh,
connect
okay.
with
Oh, I
me.
was curious about that. Okay, now how did you get this beautiful Twitter handle? Do you actually write poetry or?
I'm a terrible poet. I do write quite a bit, so I'm more of like a fan of poetry than I do write quite a bit, and there's a multi-layer meaning there. I think I would say that there's something very special about poets in that they see something beautiful in the world or in reality and find some way to, express it and compress it into these powerful words. And I've always found that inspiring. And I always just felt like I just kind of been through life and just seen so many beautiful things. And I want to, find a way to celebrate that. And writing was just one of my better creative expression or creative forms of expression. And then it like turned into like my gamer tag and handle, and it's just like kind of stuck since there. But there's a lot of like adult, as I was growing up, it just kind of meant a lot to me in terms of trying to figure out who I am and what's important to me and my values. So I kind of attached it all to this moniker poet. So anyway, that's a little bit
I
of
love
that.
I love your Twitter handle. Very excellent.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate it. But yeah, thank
right.
you again, guys, and I'll be happy to
100%.
chat with you again. Just let me know.
Oh yeah, Jeremy. Whenever you see us on, every guest that comes on, you can just hop in just to listen or talk whenever the heck you want. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And
Shale usually puts the schedule in the scheduled channel, right? Every Thursday. This Thursday we didn't quite get that in there, but next time we definitely will. So my name is Faye Koo. I'm at Palestine Math because I live in Palestine, Texas. And you can find me on Facebook as myself. I tend to be a little slow, processing my invitations to friends over there, but Twitter's excellent too. Who else would like to give a little information about themselves before we take off? Hannah, are you ready?
I'm Hannah, activist, advocate for UBI and a whole bunch of other things based out of Seattle. I'm on Twitter at nowhannah1, which is just a palindrome of my name, forwards and backwards. Yeah, and that's about it. Thanks for coming, Jeremy. It was really nice connecting with you again.
My pleasure. My
So
pleasure.
Hannah's name is spelled Hannah, Hannah, and then last name Wong, Won. All right, very good. How about Ariel? Are you ready?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Ariel. You can find me on Twitter at Ariel's Ariels. So that's ArielsaErials, and also youtube.com/revolutionary thinking. I also have a link tree now. I think what it's the link tree thing and then /Ariel 2022. Yeah.
All right. That's probably going to help people find you, Ariel. Faye's been teaching us how to Linktree for some time. Faye, do you want to go next?
Yeah,
She's
there.
still
Okay.
muted, I think. There we go.
I'm here now. Yeah. So my name's Faye Doney. My link tree is /Tisdoney, TISDONEY. And that's also my Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok handle as well. And if you want to even understand what my journey is that I'm about to go on, gofundme.com/Synthocopia, which is just a word I made up. It's SYNTHECOPIA. And it's pretty much laying out my journey through leaving Alabama to Arizona to California to Washington, and then back all the way to Alabama. It's going to be quite a fun trip. But message me. I'm always looking to network and better understand other people's journeys and maybe how we can work together. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. And next, let's get JSM. Are you still here with us? Do you want to tell
Yeah, I'm
us
here.
how people can find you? Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for not contributing that much. I was just sort of absorbing all the information I was hearing. I love the ideas y'all were mentioning. I love to hear more about your nonprofit in the future. My username or whatever on Twitter is US_politics 2024. It used to be 2020, but now that's over. I tended to. I'm sort of as Shea was talking about conservative people on here. I'm not technically a conservative, but I'm more of kind of like an independent. Sometimes I align with more conservative views. Sometimes I align with more progressive views. It just depends on what the particular topic is. But I'm mainly just post about political current events type stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to contribute. I really appreciate you coming. You're always welcome to contribute, and it's appreciated when you do. But I appreciate you just coming, listening. Thank you for your time, and you're always welcome. I hope you come back again whenever you like, as much as you want. If you want to become a regular, that'd be spectacular.
Thank you.
All right. How about Refluence? Refluence, are you ready to tell us how people can contact you?
Hello.
Refluence.
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Refluence. You can pronounce it the way you pronounce influence, so like reverse. But you can find me on Twitter. I mean, I meant to say Instagram. Instagram at project.refluence99. And then you spell that PROJECT.REFLUENCE99. And it's like my personal blog, kind of. It's whatever. It's a bunch of memes and whatever. But you can find me there. There's a Gaming for Humanity page I made also. And look up Refluence. It's like my gaming handle also. Like what's his name? Jeremy. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Good.
Thank you so much.
And a shout out to Christian Spencer, who just left a comment on YouTube saying awesome conversation. This was really interesting and informative. Thank you, Christian.
Oh, thanks for sharing that with us, Ariel. It's nice to hear. Kai, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kai, we can't hear you at all.
The mute is off, but the
No, you're not
microphone
muted. Yeah,
isn't
the
on, maybe.
microphones. I'm sorry, Kai.
She's got multiple things going on to.
Oh, I told her
Get
to
her
go
sound
to
on.
turn on noise suppression if she could, and now look what's happened. This is my fault, right? I'm sorry. I'll take responsibility for this.
Cancel Kai.
1 minute.
Kai.
Also, don't
you're
talk
back.
when Kai's
You're back for a
talking.
second.
Wait, she's back.
Everybody be quiet. Bad timing. It's all right. We'll come back to you, Kai. Who else hasn't gone?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Everybody has gone but Shale. Can we
Okay.
invite Jeremy to a social stream every once in a while to do social gamers?
Yeah, Jeremy. I mean, you're welcome to come to anything on the schedule. We have 3 episodes a weekend, and usually 2 or 3 social streams, which are like we
Wow,
hang out and
that's
play a
cool.
game. Sometimes we play AI Dungeon,
So the
which is my
social
current
room-
favorite one.
Actually,
But,
it's because Leyline has game nights, so they have something
Oh.
similar. So you
Yeah.
do something similar to them.
That's
Yeah, we
really
could do
good.
some like community
Yeah.
collaboration.
I would love to. Yeah, I would love to come.
Maybe.
Maybe stream my participation in a Leyline game
Okay.
night.
I love
What
it.
type of games do you guys play at the Leyline game night?
It rotates. I think recently we did Jackbox and Among Us.
Oh!
Previously
We
did
just
hit the
Overwatch.
same.
We're doing Jackbox tonight. I have Jackbox scheduled at 8 or 9 tonight. I think.
Awesome. Yeah, we
Okay,
should totally
Yeah.
collab.
So we've been overlapping on this. Very interesting.
That's right. Great
This
minds,
is a
shared
total tangent, but
values.
Now,
I played Neverwinter Nights the other
Shale-
day. Do you remember that game from like 2004? That's
I
still
love-
going. It's still good. They got a big update last month. Anyway,
Incredible.
community-driven
That's incredible.
content,
Tell
just
him about-
really spectacular. Anyway, this is not
Tell
the
them
audience
a little bit
for
about the AI dungeon.
AI Dungeon.
We do a story.
All right, you're
fighting,
so
a
you're a game designer.
story-driven thing,
I'm
too.
a lifelong gamer.
Have you heard of-
I've dabbled in game
Jeremy?
design myself.
No, I haven't. Is this like a D&D type of platform?
You know the old text
Get it.
adventures a la Zork. You know, like you are standing
Uh-huh.
in a room, exits are north, south, east, and the well and the stairs. It's like that, but with artificial intelligence, and it's written as you play it.
Oh,
So that's just
cool.
spectacular, and that's like the main mode.
I actually
And a
think
slight
it's more
repurposing
like
of the
I
engine
played-
allows
choose
you
your
to
own
do all
adventure.
kinds of other things. Yeah, you can play it. Yeah, that's another mode. The mode we play is creative mode, choose your own adventure mode, but the original mode is kind of more, a little bit more gamified, which I will show. It's like harder to launch and learn and get into, but it's a little bit more like you have like life points and like life and a score. You have a score in the creative mode too. Anyway, you can use this engine, the AI Dungeon engine, for all kinds of things. I have dumped ingredients list from recipes that I found on the internet and gotten it to produce entirely new recipes instead. I've gotten it to take lyrics from like songs I've written and produce different songs. Pontificate on anything. It's this amazing AI engine you can just have fun with. So sometimes I play and stream that. Anyway, we've got a big tangent.
So it's like when we do it together, it feels like we're having a multiple person sort of conversation with the AI, where we're trying to get the AI to do certain things, and then the AI seems to be like trying to get us to do certain things. We're like kind of a
I
tug of
cannot
war with it
encourage you enough
sometimes.
to check this out yourself. As soon
interesting.
as we get off the podcast, I want you to go to the Play Store and download the AI Dungeon app, and it's free, I think, but whatever. You can get like there's like the premium version for like $10 a month, which is worth it because that's how you get the better AI engine. And
That's awesome.
you'll play it in 10 minutes, you'll get it. It'll blow your mind.
I love it. I'm totally downloading.
All right.
Please do. Please enjoy it. Please and let me know. Let me know how you like it. 'Cause I'm glad I turned
will.
somebody on to AI Dungeon. Everybody should know, especially anyone with an interest or background in game design. So, who has
Awesome.
Kai's on your back?
So Jackbox is on tonight.
Jackbox is on tonight.
Oh,
Kais, can we hear
Kaizen's
you?
ready.
Yeah.
All right.
So, my name is Kai McCoy. I hail from Kansas City, Missouri, and flyover country, the land of the Kaw Indians. and the Missouria and the Osage and a whole bunch of really awesome folks who are long gone from this land. But I'm here. And so you can find me on Twitter and Patreon and Cash App and PayPal at KAIZENKC. That's Kaizen. Peace out.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. My name is Shale.
All right. So I think that's just you to close.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. My name's Shale Riley. My Twitter is Shale Riley, SHAELRILEY. So thank you for giving us your time and attention. We will see you again next weekend or perhaps later tonight. Jackbox at 8 o'clock. We'll be on Twitch and YouTube, I think, tonight. So, all right. Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right.
Great
Bye,
show,
everybody.
guys.
Thank you so
Great show.
much. Have a great one.
Just stopping the stream.
Stopping the
That was
stream.
awesome.
Okay, so that you guys. So now
The Twitch